Greetings, everybody. Redbeard here for another edition of Rasslin with Redbeard, the YouTube show where I, Redbeard, take you to a professional wrestling event somewhere in or around the Carolinas, in this case a little bit further away from the Carolinas than usual, to give you an example of what it's like to be a wrestling fan traveling the highways and byways in pursuit of this great passion that is professional wrestling. I mentioned in the open there, of course, that this is a little bit further away than what we usually would travel for one of these shows. You'll also notice that by the view of the steering wheel here in front of me, I have a slightly different perspective than I usually do, and that's because of the fact that this is a very different episode of Rasslin with Redbeard, number 28 in the series, as a matter of fact. We are in Orlando, Florida, for the Impact Tapings. Yes. It just so happened that we wound up being in Florida for an event that my wife is attending. She is a consultant with a company called Jamberry Nail Wraps, and their national convention was being held here in Orlando this weekend. So, by virtue of the fact that we were here, and by virtue of the fact that TNA is having tapings basically from today through, I think, sometime next week, we decided to go all out and go ahead and check out the TNA Impact tapings, something we've never done before, something we've never had an opportunity to be involved with, and this is a pretty cool thing because normally with a situation like this, you'd be talking about buying a ticket and having to fight through whatever ordeal that is to get into an event like this. This essentially is a freebie. We paid to park, but then to actually get into the Impact tapings, it costs you nothing whatsoever other than maybe some patience and the ability to walk however many miles from where I am parked to where the actual entrance to the theme parks is. But you don't take a normal route into the parks. As I mentioned, this is free. This is a free event. You pay to park. It's $20 to park in these lots here, but you take a entrance in through Universal City Walk area that would put you near to the Blue Man Group Theater. The Blue Man Group has a continuous show that goes on through here, but it's essentially one of the few areas of Universal Studios that is still a functional production facility. It's, to my knowledge, one of the few actual productions that goes on here. It is maybe the only one that's going on right now, period. But the fact of the matter is, it's a cool thing because here again, it's something we've never done before. So this is going to be possibly the most disheveled episode of Wrestling with Redbeard in a long time. I will say there's going to be some different camera angles and some weird things going on as far as the presentation is concerned. As you can tell right now, I'm in the parking deck, as I mentioned, and we're getting some odd lights, and you're seeing plenty of people driving by and what have you. But I'm going to shoot this aspect of the show on the main camera that I typically use for just about everything. But then I'm going to try and use my cell phone for a lot of the other stuff because I don't know if I'll be able to get a camera the size of the one that I carry with me to most every event, everywhere into these tapings. I don't think they can stop someone bringing a cell phone, but a camera that's as noticeable as the one that I have, it's been a little touchy with previous events, but I'm not going to risk it. I don't want to walk back to the car and have to drop this thing off and risk missing the tapings because while I mentioned that this is a free show, it is first come, first serve. So if you are maybe in a standby line or whatnot and you're, I don't know, however many deep, and they wind up not having space for you, guess what? You're not going to get in. So that is the only caveat to coming to these shows. There is, of course, a way to guarantee your spot on a show like this, and that is to buy a VIP experience. Yeah, those are about $100 a pop. They get you some stuff that's kind of cool. I think a meet and greet with some of the stars is involved, but that's a little bit steep considering that TNA is not really something that I'm a huge fan of. It is something that we're interested in following right now because of a few things that are going on with their roster. We'll get to that in a moment. But here again, this is a unique experience, something that we're looking forward to doing and hopefully bringing you a unique perspective on, because this is a thing that is kind of a enigma, I'll say, in the world of wrestling, because TNA exists unto itself. They don't do things like a lot of other companies do. They have TV, and that's pretty much it. They don't do live shows. They don't tour seemingly very much anymore, if at all. It's just a very odd set of circumstances that they operate within, but they still are around and still doing well enough to attract talent, the likes of which we believe we're going to see here this evening, which the rumor is it's going to be the debut of Damien Sandow. What name he's going to be operating under in the realm of TNA, I'm not sure. Haven't really been following him since his departure from WWE to see what name he's using. But yeah, if Sandow does in fact come on board with them, that would be a big get in my opinion. That'd be a big deal, because Sandow was one of those guys who had a lot of opportunities in WWE, and for whatever reason it was viewed by the powers that be that he wasn't the guy. Fans loved him, fans ate it up, and it went nowhere, unfortunately. He's one of few, of course, people to win the Money in the Bank contract to not go on and win the world title, or one of the world titles. So he's had a lot of, I'll say, reasons to sort of rub it in the face of the previous employers that he's been associated with, but we're hoping that's who this winds up being. They had a teaser with some music that really resembled the stuff that he was using in WWE, so but in all likelihood it is going to be him, but it could be someone else. We just don't know for sure. But the show tonight is live. It is going straight to air on Pop TV. This, of course, the show won't be released until sometime the week following, if I'm lucky in terms of being able to edit this thing together. But as I was describing there, the point of view that I'll have on this show is going to be a little bit weird, because I'm going to be using this camera some. I'm going to be using my phone, try and get as good of a set of angles as we can on this thing, but we just don't know what we're going to wind up with, is what I'm trying to say here. So if it looks weird, if it looks goofy, don't blame me. I did the best I could. But yeah, so it's going to be fun. Here again, great time to be a wrestling fan. A lot of awesome stuff happening. Last night was the debut on the WWE Network of the match between Kota Ibushi and Cedric Alexander in the WWE Cruiserweight Classic. If you have not seen that match, if you're not a subscriber to the WWE Network, please go out of your way just to see this match almost. And also the reaction of Cedric Alexander after the match. Just a beautiful thing from start to finish. Could not say more about the combination of talent there and the fact that these guys just busted their asses. I don't curse often on the program here, but the fact of the matter is those two really gave it their all. And if you don't believe now that Cedric is one of the best wrestlers in the world, after having seen that match, I question your ability to judge someone who has talent in regard to professional wrestling. Just remarkable. Really and truly remarkable. And I know I'm gushing about Cedric and whatnot, but he's one of our guys. He's one of the Carolina's best, and now he's going to be legitimately one of the best in the world. So it's a great time to be able to follow local talent like him, because there are going to be others who come from this area. One of them, actually a couple of them, should be in action here this evening. You've got guys like Caleb Conley, Trevor Lee, and Andrew Everett, all from North Carolina, now have opportunities with TNA. You've got other guys who are being, called to attention by WWE. You've got guys in Ring of Honor. Adam Page is in New Japan as a member of the Bullet Club. I mean, you got guys from this area who are all over the world now, and we're continuing to be recognized, the Carolinas are, as a hotbed for producing talent of this caliber. That's really something else. It's really cool, in my opinion, to be able to say, we're able to go out and watch these guys on a weekly basis. And that's why I preach, that's why we do this show, and the importance of going out to see your local talent and to see the people who are here. Because someday, if they keep with it and if their talent rises quickly enough, guess what? They're going to be in WWE. They're going to be in TNA. They're going to be in Ring of Honor. They're going to be working in Japan. It's an amazing evolution to watch people like a Cedric Alexander or a Caleb Conley or a Jake Manning or whoever else. So to see it come to fruition the way it looks like it has for Cedric, pretty awesome stuff. And you got, guys like John Schuyler, Corey Hollis, so many others that are just really tearing it up, doing great things. It's a situation where we applaud all of them, but at the same time, we kind of want to say, okay, please TNA, please WWE, don't take all of them at once. Because there is the consideration of depth to be had here. We have a lot of talent in this area, but it's like, when you talk depth, it's usually in relation to sports, and it applies to how many people you have in a capacity to step up if somebody gets hurt or if somebody moves on somewhere else. We've got depth here, but it's to a point now where we're having to say, okay, all right, let's develop that next tier, so that we can have somebody to step into those roles of a Cedric Alexander, of a whoever. I don't know that we're really there yet, unfortunately. So if all these guys were to vacate in one fell swoop, we'd be in a little bit of trouble here in the short term. But still, we'd recover. Carolina's very thick with talent right now, as I've said over and over again. But yeah, just a great time to be a fan. Great time to be able to say that we have a history of following this area and just watching the sport grow. We've been doing this show for a couple of years now and been able to follow a good number of talents that have had opportunities to progress. Stephen Walters, of course, now known as Dash Wilder, was one of them. He was kind of we didn't get any material from KC McKnight, who is now his partner, Dawson, in the Revival. But KC McKnight and Dash Wilder, of course, Scott Dawson, not KC McKnight anymore, but Dawson and Wilder were kind of the two that really kicked off this whole trend of people from the Carolinas going to developmental and being a part of things down there. And it's only grown from there, and it's only going to continue to grow as there are people who have seen opportunities, and they will continue to take advantage of them, as they should. So with that, I'm going to try and wrap things up here as the parking deck that I'm in is beginning to fill up. And we're going to see what happens here tonight with the TNA Impact tapings. Like I mentioned before, the only thing that we really know for sure is that the anticipated debut will happen tonight for Damian Sandow, whatever name he's going to be going under. But the other thing that we do know that will be taking place tonight is a match between Bobby Lashley and James Storm, which will evidently be not a unification match, but it will be something of a opportunity for one or the other of those men to hold every singles title in the company. X Division Heavyweight Championship and the King of the Mountain title. Not really sure what they're going for there, other than just to sort of crown Bobby Lashley as this end-all, be-all of wrestlers in their roster, but we'll see what happens. So, with that, I'm going to head on inside. Hopefully my shoes are still comfortable enough to get me through this however long walk this thing winds up being, and we'll see what happens. Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you are not already a subscriber to our channel, please go ahead and do so. If you enjoy the program here especially, we got a lot of stuff like this happening, a lot of match videos, a lot of cool content happening on the old Rasslin Redbeard channel there now. We'll see you guys in a few. All right, everybody, as you can see, we are now inside Universal Studios, and if it looks like I'm wet, it's because I am. It's roughly, I'd say, in the mid to upper 90s out here, plus humidity, put it in the low hundreds. But at any rate, it's going to be an interesting event out here. We've got a number of people who are already lined up and are anticipating the tapings here. Looks like we got about, I'd say, between 30 and 50 here so far, and it's growing by the moment. And I'm not sure what time it is just yet, but we've been told that if you're in the standby line, which is what we'll be in, that qualifies you as someone who will hopefully get to walk in. But they did hand out tickets at some point during the day today to people who were, I guess, in the theme park already to try and attract them into the tapings. Those people get preference, we've been told. So if all of them come in, there may or may not be space for everybody else. Could be, may not be, though. So, what's your name, bud? Okay. You're a wrestling fan? No. You're not?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
It's all right. He's okay. Who's your favorite wrestler? Randy Orton, too? Who do you like on Impact Wrestling? Who do you like on Impact Wrestling, the show here tonight? Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy?
Yes.
Both those guys? Cool deal. So we have a co-host suddenly.
Randy, just try to video check.
It's all right. He's cool. I do a vlog series on YouTube.
Oh, for wrestling?
Yeah.
Is this your first time here?
First time for an Impact taping.
For all your people watching this vlog, I come here like every month when they're here. Just let you know, he's gonna enjoy it. Talk about high flying, impact, a lot of controversy and drama. It's not like what you see on TV. Keep that in mind.
What's your name?
James.
James? Who's your favorite Impact wrestler?
My favorite is going to be Drew Galloway.
Drew Galloway.
I was here last month. It took me 3 days to get a signature of I can name out some, Bob DeRoe, this one's the Pope, this one's Mackenzie, Stifler, Big Boy Bobby, the Pope right there, Galloway right there, JB right here.
We got a lot of them, man.
Yep.
That's awesome. So they're pretty cool about getting people autographs and
Yep, you just
hanging out
gotta
and being
wait.
cool.
Yeah, you just gotta wait after the commercial break. David, Big Boy Bobby.
So we made a friend here, so cool. But it gives you a little bit of insight as to what's going on here with the Impact tapings, which is always fun to see. So, but yeah, we've become part of the community suddenly. I love it. And our friend here is also in the show. Oh, this is great. Only in professional wrestling, what can I say? But
Let him do his vlog. All right.
appreciate you guys being on the show, though. Check it out sometime. Rasslin with Redbeard on YouTube.
Rasslin Redbeard?
Rasslin with Redbeard. Rasslin with Redbeard.
I'll look into it.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you guys being on the show. Thank you.
Hey, come on, Miranda. Let's go wait in line. Say
And
bye to
we're
the
gonna-
people
we're-
watching this vlog.
Say bye. Appreciate it, man. Miss Mom, good job. Awesome. Only in wrestling is what can I say. But we're gonna go over here and get in line as well, and maybe we're gonna sunburn while we're at it. But yeah, what can you say? It's wrestling, and we're gonna have a good time here tonight. Yeah.
Obviously tonight, again, it's a live event. It will be televised. You cannot record with your phone. If you are caught doing so, we will have security remove you, and we don't want to do that to anybody. Secondly, and lastly, we will be moving you around. There's a very good chance, I'd say 95.6% chance, you may be shuffled. It is to fill in camera space. It is to make sure we get your pretty faces on camera. Other than that, the loudest people usually end up on TV. And every once in a while, they actually give backstage passes to the loudest fans. I don't know if we're doing that tonight or not. Don't quote me on it. But I would like to see how loud can you guys get. Are you guys ready for TNA? 60, 70 people. You guys ready for TNA? That's pretty good. All right, let me go talk to the back of the line. We'll let you guys in just a minute. And
And I'll tell you what, he was on. He's been on this whole Olympics. Here's Nick Lucena, and he's blocked by Paolo Nicolai, the two-time Olympian. Talked about a true blue, the pride of the Italian Federation. This is a guy, his father, Salvatore, his brother, Carlo.
All right, everybody, that's our coverage of the Impact Wrestling tapings for the August 11th and 12th tapings anyway. There were a few nights after we were there. I'm recording the closing of this particular episode about a week later. We're well back from Florida now, and it has been such that we've had an opportunity to see the two shows that were broadcast that we witnessed live, and wanted to just collect our combined thoughts on not only the live experience there, but also the impression that we have of how the show translates not only from the live experience, but the comparison of what it looks like on TV, which is very different, I'll go ahead and say. But I wanted to go through some notes that I had in regard to our experience there overall. I do apologize about the fact that the majority of what we have in this episode is me talking in the images that I've been able to share, because they were pretty strict on people not being able to take video, as you would expect. But overall, the order of entry and getting into the tapings is a little bit haphazard. It is a free show, as we mentioned. You do pay to park. The issue with the entry, though, is the fact that they don't really tell you where to line up, what to line up, or how to line up, I should say. It winds up being that you sort of get there, and after the fact, you're told, okay, this is where you go. Which would create some chaos, because there are people who've been there for an hour or so who suddenly find themselves at the back of a line or towards the middle of a line or whatever else. That was the case with us, because we got there, and the VIPs, as you would expect, are the ones who go in first. They're the people who actually paid $100 or so to go into the show. But that's across multiple nights. It's a VIP experience for 5 or 6 nights. Not a bad ticket, in my opinion, if you live there in Florida and can get to and from the arena pretty quickly. The other folks who come in will be the people who are with disabilities. They were allowed to bring one person with them, so that cut down on some of the opportunistic entry. I hate to say that, but that is something that comes with the theme park culture there around Florida. Is you have people who are somewhat hangers-on of folks who have disabilities, or in chairs and mobilized equipment and whatnot, but they go in second. Then the folks who go in third are people who've been given tickets. And as we said, this is not a ticketed event, but they do distribute tickets in the theme park during the day. So people who have those go in third, because it's just a bit of a teaser or whatever for someone who paid $90 to go to a theme park. Now you get to go to see a TV taping for something you may or may not be even interested in. But they go in third, and then finally people like ourselves who are in the standby line go in last. And that means that if you are in the standby line, you may or may not get in. We did. I don't know, with the exception of maybe a pay-per-view or some other big event like that, that you would have an issue getting in, to be honest with you. Because there were plenty of room in the arena for lots more people to come in from where we were sitting, not only in terms of floor space, but also sitting in the bleachers. And in regard to that, our impressions of the arena and the studio, as you might as well call it, are that it was very comfortable, very welcoming and inviting to the fan as an experience of someone who's going to be sitting there watching a show. The bleachers were very comfortable, provided a good view of the entire arena, and you had, of course, the option of moving around. When we were there, you could go down on the floor section, come back up into the stands, just really do whatever you wanted to, because the staff there was not pushy. I don't want to give the impression that anybody on Universal staff or anybody with TNA was at all pushy. They were very welcoming, easygoing in terms of directing people where to sit and whatnot. And you had plenty of opportunity to enjoy yourself, is what I'm getting at. The big thing that I will point out is that you're in there, and it's one of these things where it's a continuous motion sort of project, where there's always something going on. So it can be a little disorienting if you've never attended a TV taping before, but it was enjoyable for me because I like logistics. I like seeing all this stuff moving around, so it was fun from that perspective. And plus, there's a snack bar there in the arena as well. They have churros. They get you a good Universal Studios churro while you're there. Did sell beer, sodas and whatnot as well. Hot dogs, I don't think were on the menu. They did have corn dogs, though. I don't think they took the Universal dining plan. That I may be wrong, but it's perfectly suitable as far as a snack bar for a wrestling event, though. As far as the live experience though, and the quality of the show. The shows were a lot of fun. Enjoyed the experience. Thought they were really entertaining there. And this is where it goes into some disappointing territory. Having watched the two shows that were broadcast on Pop TV, comparing what we saw live versus what's on TV is night and day. I'll go ahead and say that the two shows as we saw them on TV, rather terrible, just not very good. And the problem is that it's not the wrestling. The problem is not the talent. The problem is the production. If you watch a WWE or even something like a Ring of Honor show, watch what they do with the camera work. Watch how they add emphasis and tell the story through things like angles, through knowing what's going to be happening, through presenting the product as it should be in a way that the story is conveyed. The narrative is there, and it doesn't really get in the way of itself. With TNA, for example, I'll give you a big thing that stuck out in my mind. There was a spot during the Ascension to Hell ladder match, which the name didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because I think it's pretty well realized that hell is kind of a downward thing, but whatever. So it wouldn't be an ascension, it would be a dissension or whatever. Not no split hairs. There was a spot in that match where Jesse Goddard has, I think it was a member of the tribunal, tied up in a submission in one of the ladders, like he had him shrunk through one of the ladders. Doesn't even get mentioned, hardly at all on TV. They just glaze over it. And to me, that was an opportunity for them to add emphasis to something in the match. And it's just one of many examples like that that happened that really just bogged down and mire this program in mediocrity. There have been rumors about people not getting paid on time in TNA, including the production staff. And seeing this really gives me an impression that that is legitimate, because you have not only the air of people not getting paid on time, but then, well, what does that mean in terms of their ability to attract talented cameramen, talented editors, talented producers? And that's one of the things that I really want to point out, because everybody knows that this is all stuff that gets written off of a script, and everybody has a story going in as to what they're supposed to, do and capture with their job. Doesn't matter if you're a cameraman, wrestler, announcer, whoever else. Everybody's got their role they're supposed to play, and they know what it's supposed to be going in. There seems to be a disconnect between the product, like the in-ring product, and the people turning the screws behind the scenes. It's almost as though they don't know what wrestling is or what it's supposed to be about. That is, of course, telling a story, capturing emotion, all these things that we expect to see in a normal Hollywood production, a TV show, or whatever else. They just don't get it, and that's really depressing, because the shows live were great. The ladder match was a lot of fun to watch in person, but you're able to sit there and you're able to see all these things happening in front of you. On TV, they just miss things because they're showing you what they want you to see at that point in time. Your ability to get the entire gamut is gone. So, we really just wanted to wrap things up by giving the impression that we have of the live versus TV experience there. Because really and truly, when I recorded the closing, this is a re-recording. I don't remember if I mentioned that or not, but I had recorded a closing segment originally where I was essentially going to be trumpeting the success of TNA in these shows. And I still want to do that from a live perspective. Like, if you can go see a live taping, I think you'll have a good time. But to watch the shows on TV, totally different experience. Totally different. And it's just upsetting. It really is, because we had a good time down there. Had a lot of fun experiencing the tapings and being a part of the show. Being able to watch all those things that are going on down there. Just really disappointing to see that get translated into a mediocre TV show. So it is what it is. Sometimes that happens. If I had the opportunity to go back to see something like a TV production of theirs again, I probably would. So if that opportunity ever presents itself, we may do that, but it would probably be more for a pay-per-view type of an event, more so than a typical TV taping. So we'll see what happens down the road in the future. But that'll wrap up our coverage of the TNA Wrestling Impact tapings. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you being a part of the show and the channel overall here. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. And if you enjoyed the program, go ahead and click that like button. Lets us know we've done a good job. Appreciate you guys tuning in once again. We'll see you down the road.